Hi, last time we talked about types of chemical reactions. And ultimately, what we're going to try to do here, since we're in a chemistry class, is I want you to be able to balance chemical reactions. When we balance a chemical reaction, we are following the law of conservation of matter or mass, meaning you can't magically make something or magically make something disappear. So the number and type of atoms that go into a reaction also have to come out. So when we have a chemical reaction here, we have to look at these numbers in front of the atoms or molecules and behind the atoms or molecules. And we're going to use those to make a chemical reaction follow this law of conservation of matter or mass. Okay, so we talked about these 5 types of chemical reactions. And you've had practice with that. I just wanted to kind of check in with our soap reactions. So when we had have a chemical reaction happen with soap, this is a little bit messy, but think about what type of reaction is this? So we've got this type of fatty acid. So this is the acid part of it. And then we have R could represent different things. And this is a base because it's got an OH. And we can often think of water as an acid with a base. Acids have hydrogen, bases have OH. So if you look at this, can you guess what the type of chemical reaction is for soap? All right. So before we balance reactions, we have to be able to figure out how many of each type of atom is present in the chemical reaction. So we have to figure out in this chemical formula, what does that 2 mean? And if we have numbers in front of that chemical formula, what does the 3 mean? How does the 3 have an effect on the carbon and the oxygen and the 2? So that's what we're going to figure out with these notes. So you have to know what subscripts and coefficients are. Some of you may already know what they are. Some of you may not. So a subscript shows how many atoms of a single element, usually a single element. So for example, H2O, the 2 is a subscript. The 2 only refers to the H. It doesn't refer to the O. So it refers to the hydrogen, not the oxygen. So what this means is there are 2 atoms of hydrogen in a water molecule. Now, there is no number after the oxygen, so that means that it's a 1. So whenever there's no number there, that means that it's a 1. All right, a coefficient shows how many molecules there are. So here's our example of a water molecule again. It does still have 2 hydrogens, but how many total water molecules are there? Well, there's 3 of them. So there's 3 of these molecules of water. So what that tells us, and I wish that I had my whiteboard here to write it out, but if we took 1, maybe I'll do that. So if I took, here's my H2O, if I copy that, so I'll put it down here for my example. We've got 1 water, 2 waters, and 3 waters. So if we're trying to figure out how many hydrogens and oxygens there are, we can figure that out because now we've got 3 of these H2Os, 1, 2, 3. Well, how many hydrogens are there? There's 2, 4, 6. And how many oxygens? 1, 2, 3. So a different way we could do that is we could kind of like in math, we can distribute this 3 to each atom. So 3 times 2 hydrogens is 6 hydrogens. 3 times 1 oxygen is 3 oxygens. So 2 times 3 is 6 hydrogens. 1 times 3 is 3 oxygens. All right, so here's some practice here. if we have a molecule of carbon dioxide, that's what this is, carbon dioxide. How many carbons are there? There's one. How many oxygens are there? Well, this subscript tells us there's two. So how many total atoms is that? There's 3 total atoms in this molecule. But what if there's 3 molecules of carbon dioxide? Well, there's still one molecule or one atom of carbon, that's this right here, but there's a 3 in front of it. So 3 times 1 is 3 carbons. And then we've got our 2 oxygens, so 2 oxygens times 3 molecules of carbon dioxide is 2. That's the 2 there, and 3, that's the 3 there. 2 times 3 is 6. How many total atoms do we have in this term? 3 plus 6 is 9. So 3 carbons, 6 oxygens is a total of 9 atoms right here. Another way you could do this is recognize that there's 3 atoms in carbon dioxide. What's 3 times 3? It's 9. Now, it can get trickier. This is something called a polyatomic ion. But if you're very careful and go one step at a time, you can figure this out. So we've got this complicated set of subscripts. So what do the subscripts refer to? Well, this 3 is right behind the magnesium. So this 3 is only going to apply to magnesium. There's nothing after the phosphorus, the P, so there's 1 here. And this 4 is only going to apply to the oxygen, not the phosphorus, because it's behind the oxygen. So what are we going to do with this? Think of math. When you would have a 2 in front of the brackets, you would have to distribute the 2 to all of the numbers. So in chemistry, if we have this 2 behind these brackets, this 2 applies to all of the atoms that are in the brackets. So what's 2 times 1 phosphorus? It's 2. So this tells us there's 2 phosphorus or 2 Ps. What about the oxygen? Well, there's 4, so 2 times 4 means that there's 8 oxygens. Okay, so this is telling us that there's 2 of this. This is something called phosphate. There's 2 of these. So if there's 1 plus 4 in the brackets, how many total are there with the 2? If there's 5, 4 plus 1 of 5 to begin with, and there's 2 of them, we're going to have a total of 10 atoms here. There will be 2 phosphorus, and 2 times 4 is 8 oxygen, so 2 plus 8 is 10. What are we going to do with this 3? Well, the 3 is going to apply to the magnesium, the 3 is going to apply to all the phosphorus, and the 3 is going to apply to all the oxygen. So what that means is if we count them up, we've got 3 times 3 magnesiums, so that's 9. And we've got 2 phosphorus times 3, so 6 phosphorus. We've got 2 times 4 oxygen, but there's 3 of those, so it's 8. Let me think. 8 times 3 is 24, if I'm doing that right. So there's 24 oxygens. Okay, so it can get pretty complicated, but if you just, like go through one at a time, maybe a really good thing is to do what we did in this previous slide here, and you can list out each element individually and then make a little table for yourself. I think that's a really good strategy if you need to use it. Some people can do it in their heads. I would have to kind of write it out for myself in a little table. All right, so if we look at, here's a more complicated molecule. So this is called barium nitrate. So we've got barium, nitrogen, and oxygen. Barium, nitrogen, and oxygen. How many bariums are there? Well, there's nothing in front. There's no coefficient. There's no subscript, so there's just 1. Now, these parentheses, be careful now. How many nitrogens are there? There's just 1, but that 2 applies to anything in the brackets. So our 1 nitrogen is now 2 times 1, so that's why we've got 2 over here for the nitrogen. Look at the oxygen. We've got 3, so 2 times 3 becomes 6 oxygens. How many total atoms in that molecule? 9. 1 plus 2 nitrogens plus 6 oxygens is 9. All right, let's complicate it a little bit here. If we've got 4 of these molecules, we can figure this out 2 ways. We can either first figure out there's 9 in one molecule and multiply by 4, which is 36, or we could do it individually. So we've got 1 barium times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Or we've got 1, but remember we've got this 2 here, so there's 2 nitrogens times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And then 3, but we've got 2 times 3 is 6 oxygens times 4. So there's our 6 times 4 is 24. And if we add those all up, that's not, I don't know where I'm getting that from. So if we add them all up together, we get 36. Sorry, that really bothers me now that so I'm just gonna delete that. Okay, so strongly recommend with a scratch piece of paper, if you need to, use these little tables to help yourself. So how about this one? So I'm gonna kind of go through this quickly. I want you to, either in your head or using a piece of paper, you can pause me along the way to do this quick practice, and then you'll have a homework assignment that I'll give you 2 days to do this because it's kind of tricky. So pause me right now and figure out how many irons and how many oxygens. So that would be 2 and 3. That's pretty simple, 2 and 3. Okay, so pause me right now and figure out how many nitrogens and how many oxygens. So we've got subscripts, no coefficients, so it's 4 nitrogen and 10 oxygen. Now, careful, we've got 3 elements here. So pause me and figure out how many of each. So we've got 2 potassium, that's K. How many carbons? There's 1, so it's just 1 carbon. And how many oxygens? We've got 3. All right, so it's getting a little bit more complicated here. Press pause and figure out how many of each. And we've got 1 sodium, which is Na. We've got 1 hydrogen, 1 carbon, and how many oxygens? 3. All right, now here's one of those polyatomics. Be careful, this is an I, not an L. So pause me so you can figure out how many gold, iodine, and oxygen you have. There is 1 gold atom here. Sorry, this is, this is gold. So there's 1 because there's nothing in front of it. There's nothing behind it. So there's just 1. Here's where it gets complicated. We have these parentheses. This 3 is going to apply to both the iodine and the oxygen. So we started off with 1 iodine, but there's a 3 outside here. So we now have 3 iodines. And we had 3 oxygens times 3. So we have 3 oxygen. Oy, oy, oy. So pause me and take as much time as you need to figure out how many of each of these elements there are. So this is gallium. How many are there? There's 2. This is chromium, and there's 2, but don't forget your 3 here outside of the parentheses. So this is another one of those polyatomic ions. So 2 times 3 should be 6 chromium. How many oxygens? 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so just notice that all of these, none of these had a coefficient. So if we had a coefficient, like if there were 2 in front of this, then it would be 2 iron, but there's 2 times this whole thing. So it would have been 4. If this were 2 in front of here, it would have been 4 iron and 6 oxygen. Okay, and so polyatomic, I've mentioned these before. There are 2 ways, and you know what? I'm going to stop here and we'll worry about this part of it when we go on to actually balancing chemical reactions. So I'm going to give you some practice, and don't worry about getting it wrong. Just worry about, when we practice, I want you to do it